So
It's like the captain and Tennille.
exactly. The only picture our family ever took, the only picture we ever took, we all look good. So
There you go.
I printed it out. I got a big board. 14,000 feet up. I'd like to claim I climbed it, but I took the cog railroad. There. I did not have the nerve to drive up the mountain in a car. I don't know if you've ever been up to Pike Peak. It's like
Yeah.
4,000 feet with no, it's like Big Sur on steroids. I've done the
Yeah.
Big Sur, but not the Pikes Peak. I took the train up.
Yeah, me too. We did also. It's a fun ride though.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna jump out at 10,000 and run up the rest of the way, but I thought about it for a few seconds at least. Got it. Okay, so with that note, I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'm gonna go for an all-time record here in terms of time. Call to order. Do we have anyone call the meeting in order at 5:33, Monday, January 9th, regular meeting? Number 2, public comments. Raquel, did I see someone that we had someone in the room? Are they raising their hands?
We do have a few attendees, but no one with their hands raised.
Okay, got it. Moving on to item number 3, approval of the minutes, December 28th, 2022.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve those meetings. I've read them and they appear to be correct to me. Good job, Adam.
Do we have
Raquel's
a-
minutes. I just helped.
Oh, good job, both of you.
Do we have a second? Oh, I think Sharon beat you, George.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, approved. Item number 4, architects update. I know it's gonna be pretty light because you guys haven't done too much since the last meeting, but I'd like to feel free to give us an update.
Good afternoon, Justin Hopkins, Tecton Architects. As the chair did say, this will be a brief update, obviously, from our December 28th meeting, where a lot of the work was done to accept the value management and the value engineering considerations. We have been engaging our subcontractors to move forward with that process as part of the design development effort. We have not held any working meetings or any working group meetings since then. However, we have both a working group meeting and a public workshop meeting scheduled for next Wednesday, January 18th. The public workshop, we're not going to show any, we're going to basically recap the schematic design process and give an indication of where we landed. Any modifications to the site plan or anything we're not going to introduce anything new per se at that meeting. It needs to go through the proper hierarchy of working group, building committee before we actually start showing those items. But we will address a lot of the comments related to security operations that we heard at our last public forum. So we anticipate it being a recap and, this is what we heard at the last meeting. This is how we're planning to address it moving forward, etc. We also have on Tuesday, January 24th, we have our official SDR review meeting with the state. So over the next week to week and a half, we will be getting some of the paperwork that's associated with the schematic design review, so that we can make sure that we hit that checklist and don't run into any obstacles. So we'll be working with Colliers and Gilbane to make sure that the estimates in the right format, any of the forms that need to be filled out with signatures from the district are filled out. A lot of these are common checklist items as we go through SDR, schematic design review, and design development review, or DDR. But it's been our experience, the sooner you get some of these letters, official letters, submitted, the less work you have to do later on down the line. So we'll be working on that over the next week and a half. Other than that, we don't have anything new to show you yet because we're currently working on the updates for both the site and the floor plan. But at this point, if
What's
there are any
taking you so long?
I know, right? Well, I know.
I'm just kidding.
We've had internal meetings. We have the space reduction basically mapped out in a Revit model. And we're going through and reviewing that. And we have a couple of internal focus meetings with our MEP engineers and site civil engineer, landscape architect tomorrow morning. So. Other than that, are there any other questions on the schedule that, obviously, we have the public forum that's scheduled for next Wednesday evening. We have gone through this involved process for value management and value engineering that, we'll make sure that the presentation is kind of tailored to where we are, not necessarily where we are ending. But that will, we'll provide those updates when we don't want to show something that's half cooked and doesn't have the approval of this committee. It's been our experience that usually doesn't work very well. So we'll make sure we show you guys this and obviously the district and the working group before it becomes a final presentation.
Got it, okay, and as you know, we're going to the Board of Ed tomorrow night to formalize the ed spec change for the square footage. So hopefully that will be resolved tomorrow evening.
Oh, I'm sorry. The other thing that I will say is that we are, the civil engineer has had some comments from the health department and has been reviewing those and coordinating with them. So that the whole sanitary system has been an ongoing discussion between civil engineer and the health department. So there was a meeting this afternoon. I think we have comments. There are no showstoppers as part of the comments. It's just a matter of making sure that we're presenting the information or the design the way that the health department wants to see it. So.
Beautiful. Yeah, I know the civil's got to, he's got to get pretty close to being ready in the next month or two because we submit. So he's got all those details have to be worked out. So I'm glad to hear you're coordinating. With, I think you've been talking to Aaron, and I don't know if you've had any meetings with the town engineer about the stormwater management approach, but.
Yes, I understand that those, there are comments that we're reviewing and going through that right now.
Okay, good. Excellent. Thanks for the update. Number 5, Adam's update.
Good evening, everyone. Just to kind of give the overall sense, I'll share my screen here of a couple documents that were in the committee packet. So one is just the January high-level schedule. Not a ton in terms of the committee authorizations or anything like that. The big bulk of the work was the schematic design review process. Ultimately, this will get further fleshed out along with our macro and milestone schedules. Right now, we're coordinating with TechDon and Gilbane about establishing those dates. Sometime in maybe March or April for finalizing the DD documents and doing this other round of design review and estimates and reconciliations for the design development phase. So I won't rehash this. The only item I'd point out is that the public workshop is virtual. That was a change from a while back where it was shifted from in-person to be virtual to get more public engagement. That was something that was discussed with Town Communications and TechDon and Dr. Cook and Graham. In terms of just 2 documents that are included for record, if you will, there's no action item on either one of these. One is the value engineering and value management log as it was approved by the committee. So this just represents what was discussed. So it's in the meeting packets. And then the other document here is the, I'll call it the unofficial revised project budget. Obviously, there hasn't been enough official authorization by the Board of Selectmen for that extra $5 million yet. But I wanted to put this together to give a sense of what the next target will be as we get into design development. So between the additional funds and the playground transfer from below construction line to the construction budget, it's basically increasing this target from 46.6 to 51.8 as the target construction estimate target for design development. So this will become formalized and official once we get through all the design phases. We're not going to start changing the town's budget logs and things like that at this point while we're still in limbo. But that was important to kind of give everyone a sense of what the target is moving forward as we go on to DD and CD phases. So besides those documents, just in general, the characterization, really the focus will be on more of the nitty gritty details as we get into design development, and Justin and his team will lead that process. In addition to the working group meetings, there will just be a lot of these sort of adjacent meetings. We talked about the septic meeting that was today. There will be many of those with, talking about site and parking, talking about the kitchen, talking about individual spaces with IT, all these bits and pieces. We basically have to take programming rectangles, for lack of a better term, and turn them into a building that actually fits each individual user group. So a lot of the updates, a lot of the documents you'll see will reflect that increasing level of specificity and collaboration with the various stakeholders. So that's just kind of just where we're going. Again, nothing necessarily for the group at this point. The only item I would point out is that we will have a few RFPs coming up here shortly, and procurement items for things like the geothermal test wells. Now that we're confirmed we're full steam ahead on geothermal past SD, we want to get those procured and installed in coordination with Kohler Ronan. And then also the hazmat reviewer. We still have the Ryerson demolition as an ad-alt, so we want to understand what that scope is in procurement the hazmat reviewer for that phases. So stuff to come, not as crazy as the selection process in the beginning of the job, and we'll have a few more months before we get into DD design review, but that's the sort of roadmap, and more documents to kind of flesh out that process will be coming over the next couple meetings.
Excellent. Moving on to number 6, public comment. Any, Raquel, anyone with their hands up?
No, I don't see anyone.
We're on a world record pace here. Item number 7, any other remarks? Anyone have any comments they'd like to make? We are moving forward with the land trust process, which is going to take a public vote. But we're moving forward with the assumption that it's going to go forward. Everything seems to be in place for that to happen. And, next, make sure we might want to show up for the minimum, or maybe we don't want to show up because we have to vote. But the town vote has to, I think it's 150. It's a yes, unless 150 people show up or something like that. So it's a strategy thing, but more to come. Hearing no comments, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn? Sharon, George is second. All in favor?
Bye.
Hi.
Call the meeting to order to conclusion at 5:45 p.m. Thanks,
Wow.
everybody.
Take care.
Take care.
Carl.
Thank you.
Have a good trip.
Take care.
Oh, thanks a lot. Take care.
Yeah, be safe. I thought you were a West Coast guy, but I guess you're an East Coast guy.
What? Palm Springs?
Yeah.
That's on the West Coast.
Oh, you're in California. Oh, that's right. You're right. You're in the desert. That makes more sense.
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
think you were
why.
a California.
Yeah, that's
I
why
didn't
I
think you were.
said
Yeah.
at
Oh, I see
2:30
you.
it could be a problem. Florida's on our time zone. They're not in our zone, but they're on our
Yeah.
time
Okay.
zone.
You're right. Okay, that makes more sense. Sounds great. Enjoy it. Nice dry weather.
Yeah.
Right, cool.
Not anymore. It's raining.
That's right. The irony, you go out there the first time in 100
Yeah.
years storm. It's still pretty dry out there. I
Yeah,
imagine.
it'll be fine. We're seeing my brother. It'll be great.